The Galactic Council meeting chamber fell into what humans might call a deafening silence. We Zorblaxians don't actually have ears, but I can assure you, the silence was uncomfortable enough to make my sensory appendages twitch. "Let me get this straight," said Grand Counselor Neptvux, his blue-tinged face tentacles quivering with barely contained rage. "These memes are causing widespread disorder across 17 planetary systems?" I cleared my throat sacs. 23 systems now, Grand Counselor. The situation has escalated. A collective groan rippled through the assembly. 217 alien representatives from across the galaxy shifted uncomfortably in their various seating apparatuses. Some species didn't even need seats. Lucky them. "Please continue," Cultural Intelligence Officer Plazz, Neptvux sighed, gesturing with one of his forearms. I activated my holoprojector. As you can see, the infection began 6 galactic months ago when the human trading vessel LOL Rocket made contact with the Bleep Blorp merchant fleet. The projection showed an ordinary-looking human cargo ship. Nothing special. Average size. Average capabilities. Yet somehow, it had managed to trigger the biggest cultural crisis our galaxy had faced in 12,000 years. Within days, Bleep Blorp teenagers began communicating using strange human pictograms and references. Productivity dropped 49%. School attendance plummeted. And then this happened. I switched to footage of a Bleep Blorp religious ceremony. Traditionally, it involved solemn chanting and ceremonial algae consumption. Instead, hundreds of young Bleep Blorps were arranged in a bizarre formation, perfectly still for exactly 42 seconds, before erupting into wild gyrations. They call it the mannequin challenge, followed by something called flossing, I explained. It has replaced their sacred ritual of enlightenment. Ambassador Crick from the Bleep Blorp homeworld bubbled miserably in his hydro tank. Our society is in ruins. Teenagers refuse to communicate in normal pheromone bursts. They just send each other pictures of an Earth amphibian on a unicycle. That would be dat boy, I clarified, immediately regretting my knowledge of human meme culture. The council chamber erupted. The Flargans report similar disruptions. Our hive mind has been infected with something called Big Chungus. My spawn keeps saying this is fine while our habitat literally burns around them. Neptvux slammed all 4 of his fists on the table. Enough. Officer Plazz, how is this happening? We've encountered humans before. They've been spacefaring for nearly 80 years. Why is this cultural contamination occurring now? I adjusted my analytical appendages nervously. Well, sir, that's the troubling part. It seems humans have developed something called space internet. They've connected their planetary network to quantum repeaters on their colonial worlds. And now, their cultural information travels instantly across vast distances. "And these memes are weapons?" asked General Vrock of the militant synaptoids, his exoskeleton clicking excitedly at the prospect of new armaments. "Not exactly," I said. "They're more like jokes, or cultural inside references. But they spread like viruses, adapting to each host species' cultural context." I displayed another hologram showing the progression of a single human meme as it traveled from Earth to 17 different worlds, mutating to match each species' biological and cultural frameworks while retaining its core humor structure. "Fascinating," whispered Dr. Zyliphotrix, the Council's xenobiologist. "They've weaponized humor itself." "Worse," I continued. "We've detected something they call shitposting. It's deliberately absurd content designed to confuse and amuse simultaneously. It's particularly devastating to logic-based species." On cue, the logicoid representative short-circuited, smoke pouring from his central processing unit. Medical drones rushed to his aid. "This cannot stand," bellowed Neptvux. "These humans have gone too far. Their cultural infiltration threatens the very stability of our galactic community. The chamber buzzed with agreement. I propose an immediate galaxy-wide ban on all human memes, continued Neptvux. Any transmission, recreation, or discussion of these cultural weapons will be punishable by neuroreconditioning. The vote was unanimous. Every representative agreed human memes must be stopped. If only we'd known what we were starting. Back in my quarters that evening, I reviewed the Council's emergency declaration. The language was appropriately severe: immediate cessation of all human mimetic content transmission, grave threat to galactic harmony, cultural quarantine of human sectors. My communication panel buzzed. It was Dr. Zyliphotrix. "Plazz, are you alone?" she whispered, her compound eyes darting nervously. "Yes, what's wrong?" "I've been analyzing the meme propagation patterns. This isn't random cultural contamination. It's too perfect. The way these memes adapt to each species' neural patterns and cultural frameworks, it's almost like they were designed to spread." I frowned. "What are you suggesting? That humans are deliberately attacking us with jokes about cats and misspelled words?" "Not attacking, testing." Her voice dropped even lower. "Think about it. What better way to map the psychological profiles of every sentient species in the galaxy than to see how they respond to various forms of humor?" A chill ran through my central nervous column. "That's paranoid, even for you, Zilly." "Is it? The humans were admitted to the galactic community just 80 years ago. In that time, they've established colonies on 17 worlds, built trade networks with 63 species. And now they've launched this space internet that somehow instantly transmits data across light years. Don't you find their progress suspicious?" I had to admit, when laid out like that, humanity's rise had been meteoric. Most species took centuries to establish even a modest interstellar presence. Humans had done it in less than one. "What does the Council think?" I asked. "I haven't told them yet. I need more evidence. But I'm worried, Plazz. What if the memes are just phase one of something bigger?" After she disconnected, I sat in my darkened quarters, troubled. Could she be right? Were humans using seemingly innocent jokes to map the psychological weaknesses of the galaxy's sentient species? No, that was absurd. Humans were odd. Certainly, their habit of keeping non-sentient animals as pets was bizarre enough, but they weren't diabolical masterminds. Were they? 3 days later, my emergency communicator blared me awake. "Officer Plazz, report to Central Command immediately," barked the automated message. I arrived to find the command center in chaos. Officers from dozens of species rushed between workstations. Holographic displays showed riots breaking out on at least 7 worlds. "What's happening?" I asked a frantic Zelbian analyst. "The ban has backfired," she chittered. "Completely backfired." Grand Counselor Neptvux stood at the center of the storm, his face tentacles pale with stress. "Ah, Plazz, perhaps you can explain this." He gestured to the main view screen, which showed thousands of Draxian younglings gathered in their capital city. They were all wearing crude masks resembling a human with an unusual hairstyle and small mouth. "What am I looking at?" I asked. "They call it Trollface," said Neptvux, "and they're protesting our ban. Look at this." The screen split to show similar protests on a dozen worlds. Millions of aliens of all species waving signs with human meme references. "You can't ban Doge," read one. "One does not simply ban memes," proclaimed another. "These protests are happening everywhere," said Neptvux. "The ban has transformed these stupid jokes into symbols of rebellion." "A classic Streisand effect," remarked a human liaison officer who had apparently been invited to the emergency meeting. We all turned to look at her. "What did you say?" asked Neptvux. The human Janet Parker, according to her uniform badge, smiled awkwardly. "Sorry, Earth reference. When you try to censor or suppress information, you often end up drawing more attention to it than it would have received otherwise. Named after a human from the pre-space era who tried to suppress photos of her home, which resulted in millions more people seeing them. Are you saying we've made the problem worse? I asked. She shrugged. I'm not saying anything officially. Earth government has no position on your meme ban. But, yeah, you've basically guaranteed that every sentient being in the galaxy now wants to see the forbidden content. Neptvux's face tentacles twisted into what I recognized as the Zorblaxian expression of extreme frustration. How do we undo this? You can't, said Parker simply. It's too late. Right now, the black market value of Earth memes is probably skyrocketing. I'd bet my shuttle that underground meme sharing networks are forming across the galaxy. As if on cue, a Traxian officer called out, "Sir, we're detecting massive encrypted data transfers between residential nodes on 12 planets." Yep, said Parker, not even trying to hide her amusement. That'll be the memes. This is your fault, bellowed Neptvux, pointing all four arms at Parker. Your species is deliberately destabilizing the galactic order. Parker raised her hands defensively. Hold on. We're not doing anything. Memes aren't a human plot. They're just things people make and share because they're funny. Then why do they affect different species in different ways? I asked, thinking of Dr. Zyliphotrix's theory. How do they adapt so perfectly to alien psychology? Parker looked genuinely confused. They do? That's news to me. Look, memes are just jokes and references. There's no grand plan. Grand Counselor, interrupted the Traxian officer. I'm receiving reports from the Mulvanian system. The local governors tried to arrest teenagers for sharing banned memes. Now there's a full-scale riot in progress. Oh no. What? Demanded Neptvux. They're Naruto running toward the government buildings. Parker winced. Yeah, that's not good. What is this Naruto running? I asked. It's a way of running with your arms stretched behind you. Like this, Parker demonstrated with a quick shuffle across the command center, arms ridiculously positioned. It's from an old Earth entertainment program. A completely inefficient way to run, but it's become a symbol of charging en masse toward restricted areas. Neptvux collapsed into his gravity chair. This is a disaster. 3 days into the ban, and we have riots on 7 worlds. 8 now, corrected the Traxian officer. The Kelvoids have joined in. I might have a solution, said Parker cautiously. Every alien eye, optical sensor, and sensory appendage in the room turned toward her. What if, she said slowly, instead of banning memes, you try to understand them? Create a cultural exchange program. Let humans explain memes to your species. Once people understand the jokes, they lose that forbidden mystique. That might actually work, I admitted. The allure is partly in the mystery and the forbidden nature. Exactly, nodded Parker. Plus, half the time, even we don't know why certain things become memes. They just do. They have a natural life cycle. If you just wait, most will die out naturally. Die out? Asked Neptvux hopefully. Sure. Remember Harambe? No, of course you don't, Parker shook her head. My point is, memes come and go. Ban them, and they become immortal symbols of resistance. Ignore them, and most will fade away on their own. The command center fell silent as we considered her words. Finally, Neptvux spoke. We will consider your proposal, human. In the meantime, Officer Plazz, assemble a team. I want to know everything about human meme culture, where it comes from, how it spreads, and most importantly, whether there's any truth to the theory that it's being used to map our psychological weaknesses. I nodded, my mind already racing. Yes, Grand Counselor. And Officer Plazz? He added as I turned to leave. Yes, sir. Try not to get infected yourself. I laughed nervously. Of course not, sir. I'm a trained Cultural Intelligence Officer. I'm immune to such primitive humor. As I left the command center, I passed a group of junior officers huddled around a data pad, giggling. I caught a glimpse of what appeared to be an image of a small white creature sitting at a table with a strange caption. "What's that?" I asked sternly. They jumped, quickly hiding the pad. "Nothing, sir," stammered a young Phyrexian. "Show me. Now." My tone left no room for argument. Reluctantly, they displayed the image. It showed a small white earth creature, a cat, I believe, sitting at a table. The caption read, "I should buy a boat." I stared at it blankly. I don't understand. Why is this funny? The junior officers exchanged glances. "Well," said the Phyrexian hesitantly, "it's funny because cats don't normally think about buying boats. They don't have money and can't operate vehicles. It's the absurdity of a cat having such mundane, human thoughts." I continued staring. "That's it? That's the joke?" "Well, when you explain it like that, it sounds stupid," muttered another officer. "It is stupid," I said firmly. "This is what's causing galactic unrest. Ridiculous." I stomped away, determined to get to the bottom of this meme crisis. Yet something nagged at me. Something about that stupid cat and its boat aspirations had almost, for a brief moment, made me want to smile. And that, more than anything, frightened me. As I reached my office, my communicator buzzed. An urgent message from Dr. Zyliphotrix. "Meet me at Docking Bay 7, immediately. Bring nothing. Tell no one. I found something about the humans. Something big." I stared at the message, a sense of dread filling my thoracic cavity. Whatever she had discovered, I suspected our galaxy would never be the same again. The humans had unleashed something powerful, and we had just made it worse. Aliens banned human memes. That was their first mistake. Docking Bay 7 was unnervingly quiet. Most of Central Command's personnel were busy dealing with the meme-inspired riots spreading across the galaxy, leaving the cavernous shuttle hangar eerily deserted. My footsteps echoed across the polished floor as I scanned the shadows for Dr. Zyliphotrix. Over here came a hushed voice from behind a maintenance drone. I found Zilly crouched behind the machine, her compound eyes darting nervously in all directions. She looked terrible. Her normally sleek exoskeleton was dull, and her antennae twitched erratically. "What happened to you?" I asked, genuinely concerned. "You look like you haven't regenerated in days." "No time for pleasantries, Plazz," she hissed, pulling me deeper into the shadows. "I've been analyzing these human memes around the clock. The patterns were bizarre, inconsistent. But then I found something." She activated a small holoprojector that displayed a complex web of interconnected nodes. "This," she said, "is the spread pattern of a typical viral joke across our galaxy. Notice anything strange?" I studied the projection. It seems random, but there's underlying order there. Like it's probing for something. Exactly. Her antennae quivered with excitement. Each meme variant targets specific neural patterns in different species. Some affect emotional centers, others trigger memory regions. Collectively, they're mapping our cognitive architectures. I frowned. That would require extraordinary coordination. "Or artificial intelligence," whispered Zilly. "I think human memes are being guided by an AI system to maximize spread and information gathering." "That's absurd," I said, yet without complete conviction. "Humans aren't that advanced." "Aren't they?" She pulled up another hologram, this one showing Earth's technological development timeline. "Look at this progression. From primitive flight to interstellar travel in less than 200 years. That's not natural evolution. What are you suggesting?" Zilly's voice dropped to an almost inaudible whisper. I think humans might be artificial constructs themselves, or at least guided by something beyond our understanding. I stared at her, trying to determine if she'd suffered a cognitive break. Zilly, that's crazy? I know how it sounds. She clutched my arm with surprising strength. But I've arranged transit to a human colony world. We need to see for ourselves. My shuttle leaves in 20 minutes. Wait, you want me to just abandon my post? During a galactic crisis that I'm supposed to be solving? This is solving it. Her compound eyes flashed with intensity. Don't you see? Understanding what humans truly are is the key to everything. I hesitated. Leaving now would likely end my career. But if Zilly was right... Fine, I finally said. But we report everything we find to the Council. Of course, she agreed quickly. Too quickly. But I chose to ignore my suspicions. After all, what could possibly go wrong? The answer, as it turned out, was everything. Our shuttle arrived at Outpost Xavier, a human colony on the outskirts of Sector 7, 14 hours later. The Galactic News Network had been buzzing with updates throughout our journey, 17 planets now experiencing major unrest, 3 planetary governments overthrown by what were being called meme rebellions, and an emergency session of the Galactic Council scheduled to discuss reversing the ban. Welcome to Outpost Xavier, announced the shuttle's automated system. Current local temperature is 294 standard units. Human Cultural Exchange Festival in progress. Please observe all local customs and regulations. Cultural Exchange Festival? I looked at Zilly. You didn't mention this. She shrugged her upper appendages. Lucky coincidence. Provides perfect cover for our investigation. The spaceport was teeming with activity. Humans mingled with dozens of alien species, all seemingly engaged in enthusiastic communication. Many aliens wore T-shirts with human meme references. One Flargonian was proudly sporting an image of what I recognized as Grumpy Cat with the caption, "No." The ban doesn't seem to be in effect here, I muttered. Frontier world, explained Zilly. News travels slowly. Or perhaps they're deliberately ignoring it. We made our way through the crowded spaceport and into the colony's main settlement. The place was unexpectedly pleasant. Clean streets, diverse architecture, and an atmosphere of chaotic but friendly coexistence. Humans and aliens sat at outdoor cafes together, laughing and sharing what appeared to be food items of questionable nutritional value. They seemed so normal, I said, watching a human child showing an Andromedan youngster how to operate a simple toy. Appearances can be deceiving, insisted Zilly. My contact works at the Human Communication Center. He says there's a secure facility beneath it where they track the spread of memes across the galaxy. The Human Communication Center turned out to be a modest building with a sign reading Xavier Internet Exchange Meme Museum. A cheerful banner proclaimed, First Annual Galactic Meme Festival. All species welcome. A meme museum? I couldn't hide my skepticism. If this is a covert psychological operation, they're not exactly hiding it. The perfect cover, whispered Zilly. Hiding in plain sight. We paid our entrance fee, a surprisingly reasonable 10 galactic credits, and entered the facility. Inside was what could only be described as a celebration of absurdity. The walls were covered with printed images of the very memes that were causing chaos across the galaxy. Aliens of all species wandered about, pointing and laughing. A young human approached us, wearing a name badge that identified her as Tori, tour guide. Welcome to the Meme Museum, she said cheerfully. First-time visitors? Yes, I replied cautiously. We're researchers, studying human cultural phenomena. Great. We get lots of xenoanthropologists here. The Understanding Earth Humor seminar starts in 10 minutes in room 3, or I'd be happy to give you a personal tour. Before I could decline, Zili stepped forward. We'd prefer to explore independently, but perhaps you could tell us about the facility beneath this building? Tori's smile didn't waver. You mean the basement? That's just our server room and employee break area. Nothing exciting. I heard you track meme propagation across the galaxy from here, pressed Zili. Now Tori laughed. Well, we do have analytics that show which memes are trending on different planets, but it's not some big spy operation. It's mainly so our content creators know what's popular. Would you like to see the data center? We give tours every hour. I nudged Zili. We'd love that. As Tori led us toward an authorized personnel-only door, I whispered to Zili, this doesn't seem very clandestine. Of course they'd train their workers to maintain the facade, she whispered back. Stay alert. The data center was disappointingly mundane. Rows of server equipment hummed quietly. A handful of humans and aliens worked at monitoring stations. One wall displayed a large visualization of meme trends across various sectors. This is our real-time analytics board, explained Tori. Right now, distracted boyfriend is making a huge comeback in the Orion sector, while woman yelling at cat is trending in the Cygnus arm. What's that spike? Asked Zili, pointing to a dramatic upward trend on all graphs. Tori grimaced. That's the Streisand effect from your government's ban. Meme traffic has increased 8,000% since the prohibition was announced. We've had to triple our server capacity. And you track how each species responds to different memes? I asked, thinking of Zili's conspiracy theory. Sure. It's fascinating to see how humor translates across species. Andromeldans really love absurdist humor, while Quatsoids prefer visual puns. Did you know Zorblaxians like yourself tend to enjoy memes about unexpected role reversals? Probably because of your hierarchical social structure. I blinked in surprise. She wasn't wrong, but I found it unsettling that humans had studied our humor preferences so thoroughly. What do you do with this information? Demanded Zili. Tori looked confused. Do with it? We make better memes, I guess? Our mission statement is bringing the galaxy together through shared laughter. It's not complicated. And there's nothing beneath this level, pressed Zili. Just foundation and dirt, Tori replied, now looking slightly concerned. Are you two okay? You seem paranoid. We're fine, I said quickly. Just very thorough researchers. Thank you for the tour. As we exited the data center, Zili pulled me aside. She's hiding something. Did you see how quickly she dismissed the question about sub-level facilities? Zili, I think you might be overinterpreting things. This seems like exactly what they claim it is, a cultural center studying humor. She shook her head vigorously. My contact was specific. There's a secret entrance somewhere. We need to find it. Your contact. Who exactly is this mysterious informant? Zili hesitated. A human defector. Someone who knows the truth. I was becoming increasingly concerned about my colleague's mental state, but before I could press further, alarms began blaring throughout the building. Attention all visitors, announced a calm automated voice. A level 1 emergency has been declared. Please proceed to the nearest exit in an orderly fashion. The museum erupted into controlled chaos as visitors began moving toward the exits. What's happening? I asked a passing human staff member. The Galactic Council just escalated the meme ban, he explained hurriedly. They've declared martial law on 17 systems and authorized force against meme distributors. It's all over the news feeds. That's impossible, I said. I'm a council officer. They would never. Look, he pointed to a nearby screen where Grand Counselor Nept Vux was giving an address, his face tentacles rigid with fury. These human psychological weapons will no longer be tolerated. The Council has authorized all necessary measures to contain this threat. Anyone found distributing, viewing, or discussing human memes will be subject to immediate neuro-reconditioning. This is insane, I whispered. The Council is escalating a conflict over jokes. Not jokes, insisted Zyli. Weapons. I told you. The human staff member gave us a strange look. You two should really leave. Now, anti-human sentiment is spreading fast, and it's not safe for aliens associated with humans. As if to emphasize his point, the building shook slightly. What was that? I asked. He grimaced. Probably the beginning of precisely what we feared. Go to Docking Bay 12. Tell them Marco sent you. They'll get you on an outbound shuttle. Wait, said Zyli, eyes fixed on the staff member. You're Marco? My contact? His eyes widened in recognition. Dr. Zyliphotrix? I told you to come alone. He's trustworthy, she insisted. Now tell him what you told me about the sublevel facility. Marco looked around nervously. Not here. Follow me. He led us through a fire exit and down a service corridor. Look, what I told you was based on rumors. I've never actually seen the sublevel myself. But you said they were tracking neural responses across species. Zyli insisted. That's what I heard, he admitted. But honestly, I'm just a server technician. I was going to show you the network logs that seemed suspicious, but now he gestured vaguely toward the ceiling where alarms continued to blare. Another, stronger tremor shook the building. What is happening out there? I demanded. Marco's face had gone pale. The Council's announcement has triggered exactly what we feared. The anti-human riots have begun. We reached an emergency exit that opened onto a service alley. The scene beyond was chaos. Crowds of aliens surged through the streets, some holding makeshift weapons. In the distance, columns of smoke rose from several buildings. This is madness, I whispered. All over memes. It's not about the memes anymore, said Marco grimly. Your council just declared humans a threat to galactic security. That validates every conspiracy theory about us. The xenophobes have been waiting for an excuse. A thunderous explosion rocked the ground beneath our feet. They're bombing the spaceport, Marco said, horrified. They're trying to prevent humans from leaving. Another thought struck me, or prevent evidence from leaving. What evidence? Asked Marco. I don't know, I admitted, but something about this feels wrong. The Council's response is completely disproportionate. Unless Zyli is right, Marco said quietly. Unless they know something about our memes that even I don't. We all fell silent, contemplating the implications. The distant sounds of conflict grew louder. We need to get off-world, Zyli finally said. If the Council is truly eliminating humans and human culture, they won't stop at memes. They'll destroy all evidence, including this facility. I know a way, said Marco. There's an emergency shuttle at the research outpost. It's about 2 kilometers from here. As we moved through back alleys, avoiding the main streets where violence was erupting, a strange calm settled over me. The absurdity of the situation, a galactic war potentially starting over internet jokes, suddenly struck me as hilarious. I began to laugh. Zyli and Marco turned to stare at me. What's so funny? Asked Zyli, antennae twitching nervously. Don't you see it? I gasped between laughs. This whole situation. It's become a meme itself. The entire galaxy losing its mind over pictures with funny captions. Future historians will never stop laughing. Marco's face broke into a slow smile. You know, you might be the first Zorblaxian to truly get human humor. I've been infected, I said, still chuckling. Your human absurdity has finally broken my logical mind. It's not infection, said Marco. It's connection. That's what memes really are, connection points. Shared references that bridge different experiences. Another explosion, closer this time, cut our philosophical discussion short. We redoubled our pace toward the research outpost. The small facility appeared mercifully untouched by the spreading violence. Marco quickly accessed the security panel and got us inside. The shuttle's in the underground hangar, he explained, leading us to an elevator. As we descended, Zilly turned to me. Plazz, I need to tell you something. My theory about humans using memes to map our neural patterns, I might have been wrong. Might have been? I raised an eyebrow stalk. The data was compelling, but inconclusive. I may have extrapolated beyond the evidence. Coming from Zilly, this was practically a complete retraction. What changed your mind? She gestured toward Marco. His reaction. If humans were orchestrating a massive psyops campaign, why would individual humans be surprised and horrified by the Council's response? It doesn't add up. The elevator doors opened to reveal a small hangar containing a sleek shuttle. Marco hurried to the control panel and began the launch sequence. We have another problem, he said grimly. Where do we go? Most systems will be enforcing the Council's anti-human directives. I thought for a moment. Earth. We go to Earth itself. The most heavily human-concentrated system in the galaxy? Zilly sounded skeptical. Why? To understand the source, I explained. If we want to end this madness, we need to understand human meme culture from its origin point. And perhaps more importantly, show the Council that humans aren't the threat they believe. The shuttle's engines hummed to life. Through the view screen, I could see fires spreading across the colony. All because of jokes. All because of fear. Your career is over, you know, said Zilly quietly as we strapped in. Defying Council orders, fleeing with a human. My career was over the moment I laughed at that stupid cat wanting to buy a boat, I replied. Some things are more important than careers. Like preventing an unnecessary galactic war. As our shuttle blasted out of the hangar and into the atmosphere, I caught my reflection in a polished surface. I was smiling. A very Ewan Zorblaxian expression that I'd always found difficult to maintain. Yet somehow, it felt right. Perhaps that was the true power of human memes. Not as weapons or psychological mapping tools, but as bridges between vastly different minds. As reminders that across the infinite diversity of galactic life, some things, like absurdity and laughter, could be universal. Our small shuttle broke through the planet's atmosphere, accelerating away from the chaos below. Ahead lay Earth, the mysterious homeworld of the galaxy's most confusing species. Behind us, a civilization tearing itself apart over jokes it didn't understand. You know, said Marco thoughtfully, as we prepared for the jump to faster-than-light travel, there's an old Earth meme that seems appropriate right now. What's that? I asked. It shows a dog sitting in a burning room, saying this is fine. Despite everything, I laughed. That one, I understand perfectly. As our shuttle vanished into hyperspace, I couldn't help but wonder what awaited us on Earth. Would we find the answers needed to stop the galactic meme war? Would the Council listen to reason? Would humans ever explain why a keyboard-playing cat was supposedly the height of comedy? Only time would tell. But one thing was certain, banning human memes had indeed been the Council's first mistake. And judging by the chaos we'd just escaped, it definitely wouldn't be their last.